Good evening, Neo.
What's going on?
Live and direct from the UK, and you are live and direct from New York. You are in New York, aren't you, dude? Yeah? You're breaking up a bit there, dude.
Am I?
No, you're good now.
Good?
Yep.
All right.
Hey, Steve. Hey, Herbal Tea. Steve says, hello from Shady Acres Assisted Living, where we're all hot-blooded, right? We're all hot-blooded. We got hair. Hello from England, home of the morons and mouth-breathing troglodytes so softly spoken by spitting Klingons of the aqueduct path. Thank you for joining us, guys.
What's up, fellas?
Oh, Lord.
What do you got today? Because I like you springing up this stuff.
Well, Neo, you know me and Eric did a video on Jack the Ripper last week, okay? And I showed the present letter.
Right.
I'll show it again quickly, right, to get a feel what I'm talking about. So it got me thinking, this has always caught my eye. Right, you know me with these letters. I'm like a little bit obsessed with them.
Right.
The Duke of Death, the Wicker King Wicker, the 22 Disciples of Hell, John Wheaties, rapist and suffocator of young girls.
This letter here is what brought John Carr into the whole thing, as you see John Wheaties. And that is there because John Wheat is in the phone book, and that is where he got that name. As I'll show you, he uses another Joaquin Goncalo later on. I'll show you again how that was in the phone book. But you see the 22 Disciples of Hell, too. That is what Maury's theory came out of, through these clues. He was figuring 22 people were in Berkowitz's cult. The Wicked King Wicker was also, he didn't know, but he thought it was a person. And the Duke of Death, he also thought was another person. He thought the Duke and the King were people in the 22 Disciples of Hell. So I just want to try and set this straight that there is no 22 Disciples of Hell, because the 22 Disciples of Hell, that meaning is the house on Wicker. There was two houses on Wicker, 18 and 22. And in Klausner's book, Berkowitz talks about demons in that area that would go out and do whatever they were doing, but 22 would be the house that they rest at. So Disciples of Hell, those are demons of hell, resting at 22, the house there. So that is what that means. And that all came about when I found out what King and Duke were. Okay, when I first found the Nettos, they had a dog Rocket, but they had never mentioned they got a dog after. So the second time I had spoken to the Nettos, I had brought up conversation to them, and one of their cousins mentioned that 22, the house on Wicker, had a dog named Duke, and it wouldn't shut up. So right there, it kind of jumped me off my seat. Nobody had cracked this letter before, so I'm thinking Duke in the letter, okay. I have one name. They're saying that the dog was there. Remember, they hadn't told me that they got another dog after Rocket. So after that, I needed to find 22, right? The people of that house. And I did. And when I did, she confirmed she had a dog named Duke. And then she mentioned to me that after Rocket was shot by Berkowitz, her father had gotten the Nettos another German Shepherd, and they named it King. So now, without the Nettos even telling me that they had a dog named King yet, she's telling me that they had a dog King. So again, I called Sylvia after that, and she confirmed, yes, that the dog after Rocket was King. So now I could figure out that Berkowitz is talking about in these letters, these two dogs. Remember, these two dogs are what blew him over the edge when he first moved to Yonkers. That's where we are in the timeline. King was at 18 Wicker, who he thought Joaquin, we'll talk about in a minute, Goncalo owned. Too bad, the Nettos owned the house and they were getting harassed. But it was Joaquin, and it was after, because that's the only name that was listed to 18. Again, that's how he got John Wheaties' name. John Wheat Carr is how the name is in the phone book, Wheat says that they both put their names involved in that listing so that both of their friends could use it when they were younger. And that is true because she mentioned in emails this in modern time. And then 40 years later, the exact statements that she said in the emails were exactly what she told the DA. So that is all true. So once you knew all this, you knew that there was, more. It was a house number. The two officers, Tommy and Pete, and Sam and Lorenzo, as she stated. This letter was telling the police where he was. But she had never figured out the dogs' names, which was figured out here. Do you have a recording of the lady from 22?
Yep.
And you can see when I run into her how I then put this together.
Walter, yes, this is a Berkowitz letter. This is the second letter he sent out. This is the Breslin letter. What I'm about to play is a recording, right, Neo? What is this again?
I ran into the resident who owned 22 Wicker.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and looked for her after I wanted to find more information out about Duke. She confirmed it and then told me about King. So here she is when she tells me about King.
All right. Volume up.
Did you know the cars? I kind of want to.
No, I didn't know that.
I know, but you had a dog, Duke. Okay,
Yeah, I had
because Teresa,
Yeah.
we met Teresa yesterday, and that came out. And the minute she said it, it kind of fits the letter, because then they're telling me after they shot their dog, they got a dog named King.
Yes.
So now you got Duke of Death.
And King of Wicker, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, but like I said, it seems that easy. I mean, that's what I'm trying to tell you. They're going around for about a year, and I'm finding stuff that's easy that they should have seen. And
I think that, like I said, Jack called the
Yeah, you
police.
can cut it.
Yeah, so basically, what's she saying there, Neo?
That she had a dog, Duke, and the Nettos had a dog, King.
Mm-hmm.
And again, and these dogs you see later in the Abrahamson letters, and the letters I'm going to show you coming up, these dogs are bothering Berkowitz. And these letters that I'm going to show you would not have been seen if I didn't get them. I don't need to use other people's stuff like a lot of other people out there. These were my letters that I found and were important to see because, like I tell you, you see Joaquin Goncalo in these letters for the first time. Here, go to the front of that letter.
That one?
I'm Joaquin Goncalo a few times on here with an N. And there's other letters. So I see this guy, and I called Sylvia and I asked her about him. And she says, no, it's with an M. And I said, like your father? And she says, yeah, they had the same name. So I said, why is he using an N and it's not being misspelled? So again, like I said in the prior video, I checked the phone book and he was the only name listed in the phone book and they spelled his name wrong with an N. So it proves that that's where he got Joaquin Goncalo from. Again, showing you he was using the phone book. That's how he got John Wheat. And in this letter here, you see he's mad at the dog at 18 Wicker Street, which he thinks Joaquin owns. Again, he doesn't mention the Nettos in these letters. He's after Joaquin Goncalo with an N because that's the name in the phone book. And meanwhile, it's this guy, Joaquin, that lives on the third floor. He has no idea about any of this, still to this day. You know, they were
No idea.
These immigrants, and no, they know nothing. Right. So if you want to read that, I'll try and stop you if I see anything.
Today, the devil dog at Wicker Street is in great pain. Apparently, Joaquin Goncalo is low on blood. Yes, I'm right. The dog is screaming for fresh blood and meat to quench his thirst and pangs of hunger.
Right, so that's King. He's complaining about that.
I said to Joaquin, why all the suffering and pain? Why do you, what does it say, Neo? My eyes are so bad.
Why do you bring so much destruction into the world? You want to keep going?
Joachim laughed. To hell with the people of the world. The people of the world shall bow down to me, and I shall, what does that say? Compose?
Conquer.
Conquer. I said to him, you evil beast. And the wicked Wicker dog cried out, saying, yes, we are evil. We are the children of Satan. See
so
that?
you see there, he uses wicked Wicker dog. Wicked King Wicker.
Yeah.
Wicked Wicker dog. Right.
You
So
got
again, it's backing up. He's mad at King. He's talking about King, and he had 18 Wicker. This is the dogs that set him off, that he had enough. You know, he's trying to get peace. He moves to Yonkers, and now these dogs are bothering him, and he's had enough at this point. That's why you see him then try to burn the house down.
We kill the innocent and praise the guilty. At this time, the dog howled fierce cries, and my head developed a severe pain. I was no longer permitted to speak to the people of Wicker Street. It's quite deep, isn't it? And then we got this other one here, look. All day long, the devil dog has been yelling in pain. There is no ceasing. I beg the Wicker Street cult to leave me alone. I am the slave. Today the demon has not stopped for a moment. How much blood does he want me to spill for him?
And you see the date, March 8th, 77, 9:15 a.m. Yeah, he shot Virginia Voskerichian that night at 7:15. So here you see this dog, he's going to blame would not shut up, is what drove him out to do that. You see how he blames that these dogs are constantly bothering him and he can't get peace. So here he is in the letter showing you that. He's not talking to a dog here telling him to kill. These dogs are bothering him. And they were barking a lot. The owners, all the owners of these dogs, including Wheat, said that their dogs barked a lot. And I'm telling you that there's an aqueduct path that people would walk their dogs constantly there. So that would probably tick these dogs off, right? So all day long, there was probably dogs barking there. I'm not kidding you. Like, I know it seems like he may have problems, and that may be the cause also, but I have to say that there was a lot of dog activity probably there than anywhere I've ever been in my life. Okay. And everybody from the area will tell you that, because it's a vacant area where back then you used to walk your dogs. So anybody in the radius of that place is walking around there, and those dogs are probably being set off a lot. You know, like I said, the owners were saying they barked a lot too. And, you know, Maria had told me that, you know, King was bad. She even admitted that King was just really bad. And they're saying this, again, these people are saying this without really knowing the backstory that I figured out. Okay, I can go to them now and they don't really understand the story. I have gone over it with them a few times, like the Goncalos. Like I tell you, they didn't even know anything. So it's these dogs bothering Berkowitz.
When you first, you know, obviously I know you now think David acted alone. When you first read the Breslin letter, were you thinking like, you know, this wasn't written by the same person? This is
no way.
Huh.
Again, adding some credence to Maury. There's no way that those letters look the same. You really gotta do what we did to show you. I guess it looked so easy after you laid it out that way, after we figured it out. But again, sketches don't look alike. The letters don't look alike. If the letters don't look alike, it's meaning that two different people wrote it. I don't know about you, but the majority of the people out there did not think that the same person wrote those letters. So again, how dumb do you want to call Maury? He's not dumb when everybody else is thinking the same thing too. All of a sudden we get new stuff, and that's how you do it, by getting new stuff and putting it against it. good evidence, and now we see it differently, and now Maury's stupid. See, I don't see it like that. You know what I mean? I don't, because we were all there, and we all thought that he.
What do you think Maury would make if he saw what you found now? What do you think he would?
I don't know. You know, in the beginning, like I said, I was respecting everything. I don't think he would think I was trashing his work, because
No.
I think that he wouldn't have been left out of anything. So as this went, I don't know. I didn't meet him, but I don't know. I don't know how it would have went. I mean, he would have known that I was doing honest work. I tell you that, like Josh did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why Josh never got upset with anything I did, as I told him stuff that I was finding, because he knew I was being honest. I wasn't trying to favor any side or anything. As you see in my book, there's times I'm wrong. There's a lot of people I talked to that had different stories that, you know, didn't add up. I just put it all out there anyway.
What did you first think when you came across like the names of the dogs and added up to the Breslin letter? Like, was that?
Well, totally. Again, I was coming to the end of that anyway, where I was running into the 22 disciples, supposed, you know, like Taco and Carosa, or people that may have been involved, who Maury thought, and the Candlelight, and just a lot of stories that weren't adding up. So I was getting away from the 22 people involved anyway. I couldn't find anybody because there was none. Again, I'm showing you he made a mistake. Again, do you want to say Maury lied and made all that up? I'm saying no to you. I am. I'm saying the guy had theories. He put things together. Hey, that's what he came up with. I'm not going to say that a dead person is a liar when I can't prove that. Did he really think his theories was this? I would say so. So, again, he's not lying to you. He's coming up with his own way of looking at things.
I don't think someone would devote a good chunk of their life to something they didn't believe in.
Right.
You know,
again, he passed away.
It wasn't a couple of years, was it?
What was that?
It wasn't just a couple of years with Maury.
No,
it was a good chunk of his life.
Yeah.
And you can convince yourself things are real, can't you?
Well, a lot of things weren't adding up. They weren't. There was a lot of things that weren't adding up that gave him reason, and all of us reason, to believe there may have been other people involved. Again, you got 1,500 fires. You know, we don't put the fires into the timeline because there was so many. But, you know, who was doing all that? He did so much menacing that it was easy to believe that other people were involved, you know?
Well, in David's mind, he was being controlled by a cult. And these cults had ranks, didn't they? They were like, they had their own ranks, didn't they, these members?
Right. This is the cult that, you have that letter?
Yep.
All right. So this is the cult that Berkowitz talks about in all his letters. There's nobody else associated with a cult in his letters but these people here. And these people are his neighbors that are bothering him.
What did you do when you first came across this? Like, where were you at when you found these?
I found this in my stack of letters. Just like the other one, you see people using it. They wouldn't have it if I didn't find it. They'll tell you that this was in other people's research. It may be now, but I brought this forward before anybody, before the DA dropped. When I first seen this, again, it's again now making more sense, because you take this letter here and you read the Klosner book where he explains all the people involved in his imaginary cult, and you read this, and this is the cult that he was talking about right here, all these people. And I'm pretty sure this was written before Glassman moved in. So Glassman would have been a part of this here if this was written, you know, when he was living there. Because when he moved in, it even escalated more, Glassman. Now he's got Glassman downstairs bothering him. And that's, you know, that's when you really see him kicking up a little bit in the Wicker area when Glassman moves in. Because that just throws him even more over the edge.
Yeah.
It's like he's trying, you know, to get peace, and it's not happening. It's so bad. And then Glassman moves in. So again, it's like he's blaming God for all this. Do you understand? He's thinking there's no way that all these things could happen to him if God wasn't allowing it. So, it's breaking them down. And that's what was, where we're at before the first shooting now in the timeline. The stabbing, again, I think he did the stabbing on purpose on Christmas Eve to get back at God. This was all to get back at God. There's no other way better to get back at God besides taking someone's life. And he was at war with God. He's thinking God abandons him, where he thinks, God is happy and wants this to go on. See, that's where he had it wrong. And that's where the resentment came, and it became a war between him and God. All the coincidences and the bad stuff that was happening to him, he really felt that God was allowing it to happen. He was born a demon out of sin. It just all added up to him, all the stuff that had gone on with his life at this point. So he just really felt that God was allowing all this to happen to him. So this was his striking back as we approached the first shooting in the other videos.
Well, also we worked out like the Borelli letter. He references Easter, which is obviously one of the most holy days in the calendar.
And if you look at it, okay, Easter was on the 10th that year. He wrote Sam Carr a letter that day. I think he wrote that letter on the same day. That was Easter. And I think he went out that night to do that shooting and didn't find anybody. And a week later, he dropped that letter, So again, I think he's trying to strike on Easter here, showing you. And I'll point out again, the Netto's dog was shot Christmas Eve. He did the stabbings Christmas Eve before. It's the only date during his spree that he continues. That's, the same date is the Christmas Eve. He made sure he attacked on that date. Once he did the stabbing, I think there was no turning back from him. I don't think he thought that God would ever forgive him for that. So that really drove him to the point where there was no turning back.
No turning back.
Right. And God was going to make him pay, as what he thought, I feel.
Well, let me read this letter. The commander of Yonkers, his name Captain Blood, and he supervises most of the murders. The highest temple of Satan is located at 18 Wicker Street, Yonkers.
So he's calling Goncalo Captain Blood there.
Captain
Blood. That's who's living at 18 Wicker Street.
Here is a partial list of these with the highest ranks. Jack Cassara, High Priest. Nan Cassara, High Priestess and family, 174 Coligny Avenue.
Right, so he's got the Cassaras. Remember, he was living there prior to going to Yonkers. He's got the Cassaras as the head of his satanic cult, because that's who pissed him off first.
The Wicker Street gang with Captain Blood.
That is Goncalo on Wicker Street.
18 Wicker Street, Yonkers. The House of Horrors. The car gang.
That is 22 Wicker, because that's what he refers to 22 Wicker in the Klausner book, the House of Horrors, where the demons stay.
It says the car gang. Sam Carr, alias First Lieutenant Tinker. What kind of name is that?
I don't know that, but that's, remember, he first moves to Yonkers, right? And he has Cassara as the main guy, as the head of his cult, and Goncalo is taking orders from him. But then as he goes, he says that Goncalo was not doing well for Jack. So Jack then chose Sam to start following his orders. And if you notice, when he first moves to Yonkers, his target is 18 Wicker. But as it goes, it becomes Harvey and Sam Carr. And that's because if you notice in the Deagle tape, he mentions that Harvey was only one when he was there in 77.
Yeah.
I don't think Harvey became a bother to Berkowitz until about September of 76, because I think they had gotten Harvey around that April or March. And then, as he grew a little bit, he became a bother, because he does try to light the car house on fire in October of 76 on the 9th. So him attacking that house, I'm guessing he's attacking the house just like he was attacking 18 Wicker because of Harvey at that point. So that's when Sam enters. So yeah, here's the rankings, how he's had it. Cassara was head, then it was Goncalo, Captain Blood, then Sam Carr took over Goncalo's job with Harvey. That's what he said.
Well, here we have him set using John Wicker, like in the phone book.
Right, exactly, out of the phone book. And remember, if that's not in the phone book for them to have that listing for them to both have their friends calling, that's not going to be in these letters. Because again, I just showed you two. He had a misspelling of Joaquin Cacalo all over his letters because of the phone book. So Wheat was saying it adds proof to the whole thing. John Wicker is out of the phone book. So is Joaquin Cacalo. And if you look at Berkowitz's tapes, I think at Jack Jones tapes, they asked him how he got Glassman's number, and he said the phone book. So again, he's saying that out of his mouth. And he also said there that he had never met the Cars in the Jack Jones tape. Again, he got all this out of the phone book.
Well, that just reminded me, you're saying about the phone book because, he initially went looking for his birth father, thinking that there was a man out there wanting to kill him because, his wife had died giving birth to David. So David thought in his mind, my real father is out there and he's going to try and kill me because I killed his wife. So he goes looking for his father, gets told in the adoption group where he hooks up with loads of other people that have been in similar situations as him. Oh, everyone gets told their mother died. Chances are, dude, your mum's still alive. And then its focus shifts to looking for his birth mother. But they said that Berkowitz located her so quickly compared to people in the group. They never even found their family.
And
but
he said he used the phone
David
book
managed to do it.
But he said he used the phone book to do that.
Yeah, but
Right.
he didn't. Nobody else could find their birth parents.
That's all you
And
had.
somehow David did it.
What else did you have really to look up names and find people?
Yeah, they were saying how impressed they were, how he managed to do that all on his own in record time, 3 or 4 months. He found Betty. Amazing quick time. So, that dude was using every resource to his, advantage. Libraries, phone books, whatever he could find. The dude was very resourceful. And those letters you found, Neo, I still read them regularly.
Yeah, they were really important to read. Really important.
When you found those dogs' names, you must have just thought, right, this is it. I don't need nothing else after this.
At that point, too, it was a lot of things were opening up. So I started to say to myself, wow, there's really a lot of stuff that nobody knows. I think I can maybe pull something out of this. The people didn't ask the right people the right stuff. And it took off from there. Well,
I can honestly say, if it wasn't for you, the people versus David Berkowitz, your stuff would, stand alone, dude. And it still does.
All right. Ralph Ellison has a question. Put it up.
All right.
How do you explain the Ruben Anthony police report where Berkowitz was asking for Mickey Carr? That is Wheat's nickname. Ralph, if you go to the woods over there, honestly, that's how I think he knew Sylvia's name. I think he was spying on the Carr family, and they called her Mickey. That is I know he was stalking them, and you could do it easily. Their backyards, their front yards were very wide open. I definitely think he was stalking the family. And that's how he knew Mickey's name. He's talking about a report too that Josh Seaman had put up a while ago. On the day of the fire, a cop was stopped the day after Berkowitz's arrest and gave a cop this report that when he was on Walburton Avenue, I forget the Point Street, when he was on there, that Berkowitz had stopped by there with a wig and a gun on looking for Mickey Carr. I think he was going to kill her. He had just set the fire to Craig's apartment that morning. So I think he was going to kill her, and I think he knew her name from stalking them. I know that we did not know him. I've spoken to her a lot. She did not know Berkowitz. It's just no way. She was the one who helped catch him. She is a hero in all this with Pete and Tommy and her father. And that's a main thing that needs to be remembered. she didn't know him. So that's the only thing I can guess how he knew her name. He was stalking these families from the woods.
Steve says no wig was never ever found. No, I don't believe
No wig was
wig
ever found. I don't know why this witness says it, but again, I found the witness's son. Okay. The cop that took this report, and the son told me 100% that this happened, but he couldn't and he wouldn't say if what his father said happened because he can't remember the details, but he said yes. He remembers his father telling him that he ran into Berkowitz, and whatever it says in the police report, he said his father's not a liar. So I don't know why there would be any lies to what he told the police. So that happened. I backed it up.
He says, okay, did you ever speak with Raymond Pataki?
No, I haven't. I'm pretty sure he's talking about a officer in YPD. I think his son actually was on the force. I ran into his son, I'm pretty sure. I've heard of him before, though.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a possibility David was sporting the wig, Yeah.
Again, some witness on the aqueduct after the car's dog got shot said they seen someone running around with a wig. Now, we know Berkowitz shot Harvey, 100%. Letter proves it. He admits it. It's him. So what that witness saw, I don't know. Maybe he threw the wig out after that, but why would someone say they seen him with a wig on? Again, that happened. Well, the wig was seen on him after the dog shooting. So I don't
Tommy
know.
Zano? Didn't
There was
Tommy
no
Zano?
wig found in the car or the apartment, 100%. So he says also, Berkowitz, I never wore a wig. So what did that witness see then? Again, I'm not calling him a liar. I don't know.
Anthony, Bill Pataki, but he retired just a few years ago. Definitely wasn't on back then. Maybe a relative of his. And we also know that Tommy Zano described a very tacky wig, didn't he? Whether you can, I don't know.
No,
what do you think, Tommy Zano?
I don't think he did. If you look at the police reports, I don't think he made a big deal about the hair until he got to Maury. So I looked at the police reports. Gave 2 reports before Maury got him. So I look at those. Not to say, again, you guys want to throw shade on Zano. I want you to remember that Zano went in to see Berkowitz, and Berkowitz told him that it wasn't him who shot Stacy. So when Zano leaves prison with Berkowitz telling him that, what do you want Zano to think at that time? So who's he going to go to now? He's not going to go to the police because they're not entertaining this. He's going to go to Maury. And he's thinking, that Berkowitz wasn't alone because Berkowitz is telling him that. So, again, you want to know why Zano says some of the stuff he did. Okay, look what he's got to go through. He's got Berkowitz lying to him, and then he's got Maury showing him some stuff that it's like, okay, if Berkowitz is telling me that he didn't do it, and Maury is showing me this and that. So you got to look at all this stuff and what really goes on sometimes instead of just throwing shade on people.
I was looking at pictures inside of his car the other day and apartment and how messy it was. And I sat there and thought, I wonder if the police made that mess or whether it was already messy. Whether they were rummaging around and made it messy or it was already messy.
That place was a disaster.
Yeah.
Okay, we have it when he put the hole in the wall during the blackout. Okay, that hole was there for about a month. That place was a disaster. Did the cops go in there and mess anything around?
Probably. But it was probably already messy.
Though, I mean, what do you want to make out of that? The place was a disaster anyway. But yes, you're not supposed to touch them. Not until the right people come and handle it. But, if they did, what does that do? There wasn't anything taken or put against him that he didn't cop for. He basically copped for all the illegal stuff that was in there or in his car. He said, yes, it's all his in the interrogations. They were running through all the stuff they got. So it's not like they placed anything in there. That didn't come up at all. But as far as touching things, going into the car, I can't speak for none of that. I wasn't there. I don't really know why that mattered when we have a one-on-one situation here with a serial killer, and then spontaneous actions got to be done by police when you're dealing with this. This guy, you ever seen somebody in 50 years like this guy? No. You know, the police were not crooked at all. They're trying to get a job done. So if they made some mistakes while they were doing it, you should be lucky because they actually were right. There were no mistakes, and they got this guy.
DiMaggio says people may have mistaken that fro for a wig.
He's right. I thought of that because his hair was wild, you know, when he got arrested. So it could have been that. Again, why would a witness lie?
Steve says, I wonder what happened to the car. Yeah, I'd like to know what happened to the car, Steve.
They got it. Ain't letting that go. Well,
that car's somewhere, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like
Ralph says, I must correct. Raymond Pataki was actually working in dispatch with Wheat, not a cop. He worked with Salvador DiMaggio and Daniel Barnadelli.
No, I think he's correct. I remember Raymond.
You do?
Yeah. I don't know him personally, but I know for a fact that he was working in the YPD departments. I've heard his name before.
I don't know how you remember all these police officers' names. It stumps me all the time. And they're quite big names as well, aren't they?
Yep.
I mean, I think we can determine David wasn't wearing a wig and that he just had a big fro that may have
Possibly. I mean, we can't find it. So there's no wig.
Salvador Lowell. What does that mean, Salvador Lowell?
Not sure.
Patrick says, wasn't some stereo equipment missing from Berkowitz's apartment? Well, Nathan Berkowitz said that David sold his beloved stereo system. So whatever he had in the apartment was just, he obviously bought that afterwards.
Again, whatever anybody left with out of there, where it is, I can't tell you.
Well, David loved that stereo system. He saved up a lot of money for it, and apparently it was one of his prized possessions, but he was so strapped for cash, he sold it. And he said he also sold a lot of furniture because when he moved into Nan's house, it was already furnished, so he didn't need to take any furniture with him. And when he left the Casares, all he had with him was his guns and his clothes, and he said he slept on the floor of his apartment for weeks before he got a new bed, so... Yeah, he went there with the bare basics. DiMaggio says, they don't have Lowell across it. No, I meant Salvador, Ant. Anthony, yeah.
You got anything else there?
I haven't got anything else, no. Did you want anything else?
No, not right now, no. I'm good.
You want to leave it there?
Yeah, I'd say so.
You got everything across you wanted to say?
I guess. I think I took care of whatever you whipped out, right?
Yep. Well, I'll always whip out some more, dude.
Whatever. Just call me on and I'll run through it.
All right, dude. Well, we'll be back.
Yep. Be good.
It's only Monday. We've got the rest of the week, so catch you later.